Hey, hey, hey. I hope you guys enjoy these, what I'm calling podcast shorts for my Burnout to All Out community. This is just a little peek behind the curtain of the coaching that goes on inside of my programs. We're bringing to you some of the best nuggets and coaching I'm giving within hot seats of all of our different programs, whether it's our LinkedIn Method Academy, our mini mastermind business basics, all the way up to our higher level mastermind. If you're hearing some of these questions and you're like, man, I wish I could get my burning question answered by Melissa. Hey, guess what? You could be featured on my podcast. If you've got a question that you want answered and you submit it to my team and we pick it, we will bring you here to the podcast for our podcast shorts and do a hot seat with you. Where can you submit your questions? Send them to teamburnouttooallout.co. We'll make sure we drop that in the show notes for our podcast shorts. And I hope that you guys find as much value in these shorts as our clients do inside the program. Need some effective tactical advice that actually helps you get results and makes a real difference in your life and business? You've come to the right place. If you're finding yourself here today, it means you're getting ready to gain serious traction in your business, rapidly multiply your income and impact, and you're ready to make it happen while living all out. Guys, I'm Melissa Hinault, your trustworthy corporate dropout turned six-figure business burnout turned happy and healthy CEO of a multi-million-dollar online business. And you're listening to the Burnout to All Out podcast. On this show, we're serving up innovative growth strategies, simple implementation methods to put them into practice, and action-stimulating inspiration tailored specifically for the modern entrepreneur. Let's dive in. I'm going to start with Darla. Is Darla here? There she is. Do you want me to read it out loud or do you just want to jump into your questions?
Please, because I don't remember exactly all I asked you.
Okay, sure. So it says, how do you determine program fees with other coaches and consultants? And how did you and Colin work out the offer for the group? I'm getting asked to collaborate more with others in exchange for access to their audiences. I can offer my program at a reduced rate because of the free exposure. How did you map out how much to lower your program fee since I haven't qualified other audiences? How do you determine who you want to leverage? Okay, great example. And then you've got, for example, if I wanted to leverage a group I'm coaching to your program, how could I market that to them? Is that just a referral fee? How do you structure some of those ancillary programs to get access to other audiences? Or how do you set up your pay structure when others bring people to your program? How did you go about mapping that out? Okay. So I feel like there's a couple of layers of questions in here. So let's start with Colin. How did you work out an offer for the group? And you guys may have heard Colin say this in the workshop, but like many of us don't charge to publicly give value to audiences because the value is in the exposure to the audience. So part of it is it depends on who's asking you to speak. So Colin and I didn't work anything out. As a matter of fact, he was speaking at Chris Harder's mastermind. And it was the second time I'd heard him speak, and he had really profoundly impacted me. I'm always looking for speakers who could bring value to my audience. At this point in my business, I also know the value of the size of my audience, an audience that is ideal for people that I don't offer to pay people ever unless they request. And then I'll make the decision whether I want to pay them or not, because Colin got mass exposure to you guys. And you also have to be careful who you bring in and partner with. And this is just business 101. This is not scarcity mindset. This is protecting your business. You don't want to bring in people who are coaching and doing similar things as you, whether they're more advanced, whether they're more preliminary. You just have to be careful to create strategic alliances or partnerships with people who are in parallel swim lanes. So I knew Colin could bring tremendous value to you guys with the sales strategy of telling stories. But when you look at his portfolio and what he does, there's no like overlay mass competition of leads. We're just sharing audiences, growing the businesses. So it was more of a I scratch your back, you scratch mine. He wanted me on his podcast to bring value to his audience. But it ended up being a swap where he was like, oh, I would love for you to come to my podcast. And I was like, and I would love for you to come speak to my group. And he doesn't create. So there was no money swapped. There was no payment. There was no kickback. I didn't get anything for anything that anyone bought from him. And that's just in one scenario. He never does discounts. He will do affiliate kickbacks, but I didn't want them. I told him I'd rather him give it to our audience because my audience is already paid to be in my program. They're already just paid $6,000 to be in Build, Grow, Scale, or they just paid $20,000 to be in the mastermind. I don't want them to feel like now they need to go invest this X amount of money and me get money off of it. So that's the specific Colin example. Okay. So it can vary vastly with who you're collaborating with and who you're working with. The flip side of that is getting my business started. When I go back to my humble beginnings, I was getting in front of any and every group that I could get in front of. It didn't matter. Back when I was marketing in the direct sales space, I would get in front of large groups and large teams, and I didn't know what was going to come my way. And what I would do is create a 20% discount if you enroll. I would give a coupon code to the facilitator who owned the audience. Mm-hmm. And I would offer that facilitator, I can either give this to your audience or I can give it to you. You give the person who owns the network the choice. Would they rather pocket that money or would they rather give it to their audience? And I've seen people go both ways with that. So you can take that strategy as well. Where I've paid people is also just knowing what you're asking for and knowing that there's not the law of reciprocity. For instance, with Stefanos, I didn't ask him to come out for free because I know his niche work and I wasn't going to be sharing it. There wasn't this law of reciprocity there is with Colin. I was like, I will pay your flight. I will pay you $5,000. This is going to be really valuable to my audience. Hey, gang. So I know some of you are listening to these episodes and you are like, wow, these mastermind members in Elevate 360 with Melissa sounds like they've had tremendous growth and tremendous transformation this year. I want to learn more. And if that's the case, and if some of this is resonating with you, definitely take a look at applying to our mastermind. The doors are open. The seats fill super fast. It is by application only. You can go to burnouttoallout.co, burnouttoallout.co, click on the programs, find the mastermind and click to apply. We'll put the link in the show notes. But here's the thing. If you are an established business seeking to scale and optimize, if your 2025 goals include strategic growth, elevated branding, and high impact networking, if you're looking for in-depth, personalized, strategic guidance, like we're giving these women in this mastermind with elite business connections, if you're looking for exclusive gatherings, high touch support, retreat-based events, from team experts like me. And if you're recognizing the importance of a 360-degree approach to business, and you want to learn from the mentors who've been there and can be your Sherpa to take you to your business goals in 2025, definitely go to the website, burnouttoallout.co. Click on programs, go to the mastermind and apply today. Would love to see your application come in. I am personally reviewing every single one of them. And if you're a good fit, we'll set up a clarity call to see if it's a good match.
Got it.
I didn't see a big two-way street of what he was going to get out of it by showing up to you guys. Because I know he's $40K to work with. It's not going to be a big lead generator for him to show up, but I knew how profound it was going to be. So I was willing to pay.
Got it.
Totally depends on the relationship. Does that make sense?
It does. And it helps me think of which lane I'm in and which way to go about thinking through that without overthinking that. So no, that helps me. That helps me a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. And at this point, I have Allie vet out. Like I used to get on anybody's podcast.
Yeah.
Now it's like a super vet out of like time is money.
Yeah.
And again, every crumb is a meal when you're first getting started. And then you have to be strategic about where you're putting your time.
That is exactly where I'm at.
Yeah.
Where I was like before, sure, free exposure. And now it's so time consuming to do that I want to make sure it makes sense without negating what the access to that audience is. But the law of reciprocity is the way I need to be thinking about that. If there's no law of reciprocity, then is that something I should be paid for, or is there another opportunity? So that helps me think through that. So that's great.
100%. And your hourly worth, you're right. So Allie and I, we've been asked to come in and be guest speakers, and I'll look at their audience and their network. And if it doesn't seem like there's that equal law of reciprocity, I'll have Allie respond with, well, it's going to be $4,000. She'd love to come present. And usually they're like, okay, I thought you were going to do this for free. And that's you can qualify your time.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Any follow-up before we move on?
I think that's it. The biggest thing is just knowing as some of these opportunities are coming my way, what's the best way to leverage them without looking the gift horse in the mouth, but also understanding it has to still make sense for me. It isn't just about the exposure, because I'm getting to, and I know you've said this to me, but I'm getting to that capacity standpoint of I can't do anything else right now until I change the whole model. And so trying to just leverage how I make that transition while still building in this capacity with my clients that I do have, and having that revenue be there while I'm transitioning and doing this other stuff. So no, that's perfect. Exactly what I needed.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say on this, and this might sound ruthless, but I've definitely been in seasons. You guys heard me talk about the little I self-preservation all the way to expansion to the big I of impact. And there's moments when you're creating momentum in your business where you have to have some type of boundaries. And there for about a year and a half, my motto was, if it doesn't bring me joy, does not grow my bank account, I'm not doing it. And so it was a decision. It was a ruthless decision that I had to make. Now, as you come full circle and you got momentum, and I'm not in the midst of trying to lift up a business, I can be much more philanthropic with my time when I want. But when you're first getting started, you got to be careful. Right?
Yeah. No, that's perfect. And figuring out the best way to add value to other people of what you really know is going to add value versus what they perceive is going to add value just because of what they may see on a highlight reel versus, am I really going to be able to help this audience? And that matters too, because I think that also goes to your reputation and your integrity, whether it's paid or not, of, okay, great, she came, but she didn't do anything for me.
Well, and that's the other thing I love about running free masterclasses. And you don't have to do them for 9 days like we do. But it's when you're getting inquiries like that, you can say, hey, I'm so glad you're interested. Here's something totally free that you guys can participate in. And at this point, many of you can do this too. It's like, if you're running some webinars or educational stuff, we've broken them down into podcast series as well. So people think we're pulling it down in 9 days. But if they're willing to dig through my podcasts, all 9 days are in my podcast. So we can share that with people and say, hey, this would be of really high value to your audience or to your network, or here, share this link and get your audience into this masterclass. It'll be tremendous value. I don't personally have time right now, but this is a great start. Right?
Love it. Yep. Awesome.
Thanks, guys, so much for listening in on today's podcast episode. And I can't wait for you to see my upcoming guest in the next episode. You are going to love this keynote speaker. Hey, here's the deal. If you liked this, please subscribe and leave a review. And you want the latest online business growth strategies and exclusive LinkedIn pro tips sent straight to your phone? Text the word update to 704-318-2285. That is, text the word update to 704-318-2285. Can't wait to see you guys. Come find me over on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever you like to hang. Cannot wait to hear how you are enjoying and applying what you're learning. You guys reach out to me over on social, because I love hearing what's resonating with you. When you reach out to me and you send me those personal DMs, they really do impact the content I continue to bring forward to you. So again, come find me, Melissa_Hinault over on Instagram, Melissa Hinault over on LinkedIn and Facebook. Can't wait to see you guys over there.